Yeah, I love it.
All right. Hello, everyone.
We're live.
This is Michelle with Wine, Women, and Words, and my co-host, Lily, for the evening. And with us, of course, is Miss Diana. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I am doing well with wine and book talk. It's always good.
Yes. So this is the first time, well, not the first time Lily has joined us, but we'll see how it goes. We have Minions playing in the background, so
Oh, lovely.
that should hold her attention for a while. And she might even fall asleep. So hopefully
Yay.
our show is boring enough for a 2-year-old to fall asleep to, but not boring enough for anyone else to fall asleep to. So this evening, sorry, I have to shift because, yeah. So this month we are reading The Woman in Cabin 10, which I actually do have, but it's all the way over there. How are you enjoying it so far?
I don't know. I'm trying to like it, but I'm not really liking it yet. I'm at the point where she just got onto the boat, and I just
She just learned her name. She just learned how to say her name, so she gets really excited to say, "My name is Lily."
What's your name?
Well, Lily, you want to introduce yourself? You want to say, "My name is Lily"? No? Okay.
Oh, now we're shy. Okay. So, yeah,
Yeah, your name is Lily. Okay, can Mama do her show with Auntie Diana? Yeah? Okay, thank you. So, is it hard to get into for you?
My name is Diana and Michele and Baby.
Oh.
My Miss B-I-B is ready.
Okay. So, I apologize for that. Yeah, it doesn't suck you in as much as In a Dark, Dark Woods does. I think, at least. But how far into it are you?
I just finished part 1 and I'm close to halfway. We just started part 2. She's on the boat.
Okay, she's on the boat.
She's getting ready to go for dinner.
Okay, so everything is about to start happening for you.
Yeah, I keep holding out for something to start for me because I've got to have a book that I like.
Yeah.
I haven't quite liked.
Yeah, the thing that I kind of had a hard time with, so for those of you who haven't read it yet, the very, very opening scene of the book starts with the main character kind of catching a burglar off guard in the middle of the night. And that whole scene, it kind of caught me off guard. Like, I felt like I was coming into something and I didn't know what was going on. But I don't know if that was intentional or if that was just me.
Yeah, I think that was intentional, that it's supposed to catch you off guard. It's supposed to be that hook. Is what it's supposed to be. So it's supposed to get you and hook you in. But there was that rest of that first part.
Yeah. Well, once you're on the boat and everything starts happening, it picks up really quickly, and there's kind of not like a plot twist, but there's like character development, I want to say, as you get closer to the end, that I'm really excited for you to get to, because I think it's an interesting turn of events without giving too much away.
Part of okay, good. Part of me feels like it's so similar to Girl and Cat and on the Train.
Uh-huh.
10, Girl on the Train. I think that's part of my problem. I don't know. We'll see.
My Michelle, my name is.
I don't like
My
Kids.
name is.
So yeah, it's a little slow. It is a little
My name.
little slow at the beginning, but now that you're on the boat, and it almost has like a. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna relocate Lily downstairs because we're never gonna be able to concentrate. Hold on 1 second.
Bye, Lily.
Come on. You say bye?
Bye.
Bye. You're gonna go with Daddy, okay?
All right, so you guys get to be entertained by me. Well, since Michelle isn't drinking tonight because she forgot to put a wine, and she gets 10 demerit points for that, I'll talk about the wine that I got. And it is the Witching Hour, which is right here. I can't remember what store I got it at, and those little heads that you see popping up are my co-hosts, Lilo and Fizzgig. I'm on that when I'm doing this show, apparently. So I can't remember if I think I got that one at Trader Joe's. And it's a red blend, which red blends have a tendency to be hit or miss. Really, when it comes down to it, they can be really fruity or really crappy, or it's really savory. It's got a nice little bite to it at the aftertaste, so it's quite tasty. So that's the one that I am drinking tonight, and we are in talks with somebody to come and do a wine, virtual wine tasting with us. So that would be awesome for everybody on here. And filling time. I am working on some blog posts. So the
Okay.
hi, fantastic timing. I was just trying to
Sorry
fill
about
up
that.
airtime. No worries. I was talking about the wine, and then I was like, crap, I ran out of things to talk about. So yay, Michelle's back.
Yeah. I tried, but we wouldn't have gotten very far with her. My name is Lily. This is Michelle. Which, while adorable for me, may not be
Yeah.
entertaining for anyone else to watch.
Well,
But-
I mean, she did have that broken record thing going on. And it's cute for the first 5 times, and then it's like, okay, kid, go watch Minions.
Yes. Yes, we know what your name is. Thank you very much. She's not my biggest fan right now, though. But anyway,
Of course not.
tonight
So,
we are talking about books that kept us up all night. Now, while I was making my list, I realized that it could go either way. It could be books that scared the bejesus out of us, or books that you couldn't put down. But by the time I realized that, I had already made my list of books that scared the bejesus out of me. So that's how I went with that.
Yeah, I kind of went with books that scared me, or at least kept me in serious suspense.
Yeah.
So that I had to keep reading it, because I had to be like, oh my god, I have to find out what's going to happen, because I'm not going to be able to sleep until it does.
Okay, so we're basically on the same thing, but I can read thrillers like murder mysteries, serial killers, all these realistic scenarios that could actually happen, but books with ghosts, can't do it.
Really?
Scenarios.
Really?
Now, I'm not superstitious, but I'm also not one to tempt things. So, not challenging anyone, but not that, these scenarios could actually happen, but they just freak me out. So,
excuse me, I'll adjust myself here.
I mean,
2 dogs
we were
on my lap.
Supernatural on Netflix the other night. And even just talking about it, I can feel myself starting to get freaked out. And it was, I'm a big baby. It was the episode of Bloody Mary from the first season. And Bloody Mary scared the crap out of me when I was a kid, and I never did it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everyone else did, but I never did. And
I didn't do it either. It scared the living bejeebus out of me too.
okay, good. So it's not just me. But like right now, I can see the mirror in the bathroom and I can see the mirror in my closet, and I'm like, okay, let's not.
Mirrors in general are just creepy. They're just creepy because it's like a portal to another world, especially if you're, whether it's through the looking glass style or if it's something more sinister. Like, was it Poltergeist that had the mirrors and stuff that would frost over? The original?
No, Poltergeist was the TV.
Okay, there was one movie, I can't remember what it was, that I remember seeing as a kid where the mirrors frosted over, and it was just creepy as hell. And we've got mirrors up all over our bedroom. So, yeah, there's that.
Yeah, no. So I don't have like a ton of books that scare me. It's usually if I start reading it accidentally and then halfway through realize that it's a scary book. But I was able to find a couple. The first one being, okay, don't laugh, but it was the first book that I actually had to stop reading because it scared me so much. And it was Goosebumps by R.L. Stine, Night of the Living Dummy.
I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing. I'm just drinking wine.
Well, the dog died, okay? Like, and the dummy killed the dog.
Angry, but I mean, I know this. they make me angry. I get that, but it's the fact that the dog dies scares you.
Well, I mean, I was, like 12 when I read it. I don't know if that makes it better or worse. Maybe I was younger than that. I don't remember. But that's when I stopped reading Goosebumps. What was? I have to look up the other series. I stopped reading.
No, you can drink wine.
I stopped reading Goosebumps after that book, and he had another series called, I have to look it up. It's like the high school one. So but that is the first book that legitimately I had nightmares. I couldn't sleep because of it. That was the first book that scared the crap out of me. Impressive, I know.
Well, I can't say I've actually been scared from any books either. For me, actually, hold on one second. You two need to get down now. Oh, sorry, Fizz. Dog. Okay. Dropped the dog in her head. That's why I can't have children. Because I dropped my dogs on their heads. Any child I had would be doomed. So, for my list, I started off with Neil Gaiman's books. Though I have not read them as a child, they have that quality that makes them feel like they're those ghost stories that you used to tell to each other as kids. So the first on that list being Ocean at the End of the Lane. I don't know if have you read that one yet?
I think I started to, and then I never finished it.
You need to finish it. The story tells about this childhood happening, I guess you could say, for this one little boy. He comes back as an adult to his own town and to his home village and his old house, and he remembers something that happened. He remembers befriending this strange little girl who was maybe about a year or two older than him, and after they went out into the forest one night, strange things start happening at his house. Very, very strange things. So it's part fairy tale, part childhood ghost story, and it is so suspenseful and so great. I really like that one. The other one by Neil Gaiman was the Graveyard Book, which is again part ghost story, part fairy tale. And even though it's a story about a boy in a graveyard his family is killed right off the bat, and he grows up in a graveyard. And as much as it's a story about death, it's a story about life. So it's got this really wonderful positive ending to it, but it grips you. That one has to do with ghosts, so I'm not sure how much you're gonna like that one. But they're friendly ghosts.
As long as they're friendly.
Yeah.
I actually have a Neil Gaiman book on my list also.
I have another one I forgot. Trigger warning.
Oh, okay.
That was his short story collection. He had some creepy ass stories in that.
Really?
Okay, now you can go. Yes, they were wonderfully creepy. I loved them. I loved them all. And he had a Dr. one in there.
I had Neverwhere on my list for Neil Gaiman. Not because the story itself is creepy. It's kind of like a punk Alice in Wonderland that takes place in London, and it's basically like a world below London. So the character, he finds this girl who's injured on the street and takes her in and helps her, but because he helped her, he's now in I can't remember what they called the world, the underworld. Was it just
I can't remember. I think it was like, I don't remember either. It's been a while since I read it, but I always thought of it as like another dimension that was parallel with our world kind of thing.
Yeah, so he goes into this world with she's basically, Alice, if you're going to follow the Alice in Wonderland comparison. So he follows her, and she's determined to help him to get his life back, because once you go into this world, you no longer exist in our world. So he helped her. She feels guilty. She's going to help him. But there are these two characters that are creepy as hell, and they are the two.
Yes. Oh my God, they were so creepy. There was one that I always pictured to look like a vulture, like the face of a vulture, like this big hook nose and just this big looming, like not even necessarily a vulture. Like, have you ever watched The Dark Crystal?
Yeah.
The Skeksis, the bad guys. I picture him to look more like a human version of the Skeksis.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, they're creepy.
Creepy.
They are hunting this girl. She's trying to figure out whom her entire family was murdered. They're hunting her, and it's Mr. Croup and Mr. Vandermeer, or Van something. But oh my, they're just like, they're creepy.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. In fact, I have a Muppet that actually looks a lot like. I don't know if you're a Muppet fan.
I remember the Muppets.
Watching. You see him coming in close right there. That right there. The guy with the hook nose. Yeah, right? He's like a well-known Muppet. This is a Star Wars Muppet set because, yes, we are those nerds. And Gonzo is Darth Vader, and the creepy hooked one is the Emperor, if that's what you were wondering. I have it in its original packaging here on my desk. Because we are those nerds in this house.
I'm the only nerd. Well, actually, that's not true. My husband is a closet nerd. He doesn't like anyone really knowing, but he is. He's a huge nerd.
You're letting the secret out. Shh.
I'm not saying what he nerds out on, but he's a nerd. Did you want to do your next one?
Sure. The book Horns, and that was actually.
Sorry, is that the movie? What they made the movie out of?
The movie's based on that book. Yeah.
Have
you seen the movie?
I never watched it.
You never watched it, but
it just looked creepy. Like, and Harry Potter with horns is weird.
Daniel Radcliffe is wonderful in it, and he's wonderful in that role. And it's by Stephen King's son, who is taking after his father. And this is wonderful because what happens in the book is when we start off, our main character's life is just in a shambles. His girlfriend was brutally killed. She was raped and murdered, and everybody thinks he did it. And he claims, and he swears he doesn't do it, and and so you tend to agree with him because he's the narrator, because he doesn't do it. So he wakes up one morning and he goes into after a night of binge drinking, looks in the mirror, and he's got these massive horns coming out of his forehead. And he breaks one off with a lot of pain, and it grows right back. And he goes out into his living room, and the girl that he slept with the night before is there, and she's got like this box of donuts, and she's like, "Oh, I'm such a pig. I could probably eat every single one." And he's like, "Fine, go ahead and eat every single one." And she was like, "Okay." And then she just starts shoving them all in her mouth like a pig. And what the fuck? And he goes around, and whenever everybody that he encounters, they can't see his horns, but they tell him their innermost darkest secrets, and he can control them and make them do things. And then, of course, the Harry Potter thing comes into play because he finds out he has control over snakes, which is pretty cool. But there's some seriously fucked up scenes. Like, my favorite scene in the whole book is where he goes to a family party and that he has to go to, and he's with his old granny, who's like old and in a wheelchair, and she looks at him and she goes, "You were always a weird one. I never liked you. I swear you killed your girlfriend." And he was just like, "What?" And it throws him for a loop. And while this is going on with him, he seeks to solve the mystery of what happened to his girlfriend. And it's such a great book with such a great ending that I was riveted through the whole thing, and it was creepy in all the right places. I loved it. It's a very good book.
Does it ever explain why he got the horns?
No, but you can kind of figure it out. You can have theories for it.
Interesting.
Yeah, you should definitely read it. Read the book. There's no ghost in it, so you won't be scared.
Okay, then it's a possibility.
All right, what's the next one?
The next one, now this is about to come out in theaters, so you guys have time to read it and be able to say that you read it before it becomes huge, because it looks like it's probably going to be a really good movie. It's Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
I just saw that movie this weekend.
It's out already?
It is. It came out on Friday.
Damn it. I'm
Peregrine
so out of it.
She's my spirit sister. I need to get a plate, and I need to have a stopwatch like her because she is awesome.
So, it is a book by, and I think this author has the best name. It's Ransom Riggs.
Fantastic name. I hope that's his real name and not just a pen name. I'll be very disappointed if it's not his real name.
I mean, I don't think we came across Ransom, but we're trying, both Lily and Landon, they both have LRL as their initials. So both middle names are our names. And I don't know if we come across Ransom, we might have gone for that.
Cool name, yeah.
Anyway. Basically, the whole premise of the story is it's set on an island, which, number one, that already creeps me out because I don't like islands. There's no place to go. I don't like it. And so this kid goes, it's been a couple years since I read it, so I don't remember the details. Fill me in on it since you just watched the movie. But he goes to this island with his dad after his grandpa dies, right? Appears. So he goes to this island because it's where his grandpa went. He's following clues that his grandpa left him because he found a picture of his grandpa. It's all starting to come back. And he stumbles across this house that's kind of like part orphanage, part boarding school type place. And it's filled with these children that they all have, special powers. One girl, she has a mouth in the back of her head.
And in the movie, she was so adorable.
Was she really?
Yes, I mean, pretty pink dress and ringlets, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. What's her special power? And then, she goes and eats and sticks in the back of her head. I was like, oh, I love her. I must take her home with me.
And there's the Invisible Boy. There's
the girl who floats.
The girl who floats.
Firestarter.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch, but the story itself, it is creepy up until you realize that they're good, and they're not. You know, these kids aren't evil or dangerous. But the book itself, if you read the book, the author found, you know, those old school, they're really popular on Facebook now, especially since Halloween is coming around, the old school black and white pictures that are just like you see them and like, why on earth would anyone photograph these things? Like, you know, like the old school Halloween pictures that you'll see, like 25 of the creepiest Halloween photos you'll wish you never saw.
The little girls with pumpkins on their heads. It's always my favorite one.
Yeah, so he found this whole collection of really weird pictures like that. And I think it was like at a garage sale or flea market or something. And he based his entire story on those pictures that he found. And they are included in the book.
That is so awesome. That's a book that I keep meaning to read that I just haven't been able to get to.
And the pictures are creepy as hell. Like, that's what creeped me out, was the pictures. And then, but he like spaces them out throughout the story. So like the main character will find a picture and describe it, and then you turn the page and, oh, there it is. It's the actual picture. So he does a really good job of using the pictures, but they're just creepy. I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see the movie because I have a feeling they did a good job with it.
They did. They did a wonderful job with it. Ryan and I saw it on Sunday, and he really liked it too. And it was so well done. And Ava Green, who plays Miss Peregrine, was just amazing. She was captivating and beautiful and fun. Loved her. And then Samuel L. Jackson was a bad guy. And
of course.
Yeah, he was great, and the monsters were creepy. Oh, I loved it. It was a great movie. I'm gonna have to go back and read the books now.
Yeah, and I'll be.
Which I think in January we should have a topic of books that we haven't gotten to that we need to get to.
It'll be our New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolution books. Yeah. What books are gonna read for the new year?
Right. And I'll probably be able to get Rich to go see that movie because he loves Ava Green ever since he discovered her on Penny Dreadful.
He will love her in this role. She's she's Penny Dreadful to an extent, but she's a kid's version of Penny Dreadful, I guess you could say, is the best way of putting it. I love her in this role. She's one of my favorite actresses.
Yeah, do you watch that show?
I've watched some of it. I've been going back and forth watching a little something else and watching another one because that's a show that just creeps me out. I get really, really creeped out by it, so I can only watch it a little bit at a time. But you know, with Halloween and everything, I should be watching it.
Yeah, Rich, he hates TV. He doesn't really like shows. So if I find a show that he likes, I'm like, oh my god, let's watch it.
Ryan's that way too. I'm like, oh, you'll like this show, and then I show it to him, and he's like, no, I don't like it. Yeah. It's really, really hit or miss for him.
It's really annoying.
Yeah, men are weird.
But he loves Penny Dreadful, and I was like, okay, cool. It's I feel like it's overdone with the whole Dracula and Frankenstein thing, but okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I watched it up until I think we're in the second season now on Netflix, and this vampire lady goes out. I'm sorry if I'm spoiling this for you. I don't really think it's a huge plot twist, but she goes out and she stalks this family. It's a husband and wife and a newborn baby, and she kills the mom and dad, and the mom was holding the baby when she kills her, so they drop the baby on the floor, and that is already oh Nope.
You're done. Yeah.
And then they kill the baby. So I'm like, nope, that's it. Not watching this anymore. I'm done.
You gotta watch The Good Witch on Netflix.
That's probably what it was.
Huh?
I knew I had been meaning to ask you that you told me about a new series on Netflix, but I had to free up storage on my phone, so I erased all my text messages, so I couldn't find it anymore.
It's The Good Witch. There a series of, they're kind of campy, but they're adorable. It's the Hallmark Channel's movies, and there were a series of movies called The Good Witch, and it's about this woman comes to town, and she moves into this house, and she's just this cool witch where she just kind of knows things before they happen, and everybody, you can't help but like her. And they finally turned it into a television series. So you've got the movies that happened before, but now you've got the TV series, which is kind of a standalone on its own.
Oh, and cool.
Yeah, it's a really adorable show. I just watched the first season.
Interesting. Well, I'll check that out because I've been so bored with Netflix lately. I've just been reading my book.
Yes, you can watch that one. Well, on to my next one is The Lace Reader. Which you've read this with me a long time ago, I think.
I think so.
Have.
If we haven't, it just came up in something, and I think we talked about it one other time.
Maybe. Oh, that's the one with the crazy plot twists. This one had that weird. Yeah, that I can't tell because it would totally give it away. But in this story, you have this woman who moves back to Massachusetts. She starts to try to uncover what happened to her sister in her childhood. Her cousin in her childhood. Her cousin who looks a lot like her. And it's very, very twisty and turny. And she comes from a family of people who can read other people's fortunes in lace. They make lace and then they read people's fortunes in lace, and it's such a good book. It's a compelling story, and the ending just totally freaked me out. So yeah, that was a book right around the time that I read the book is when I discovered I was a feminist, and part of the reason was that book. Yep, if that gives you any idea.
Interesting. I'll have to add that to my list. Another one that I have, we can't talk about creepy books and not bring up The Shining.
I've not read The Shining. I haven't read much of Stephen King stuff.
I haven't either. I read this one. I tried reading it, and nope. Especially now with there are killer clown. Well, I don't think they've actually killed anyone, right? But there are clowns.
The Shining doesn't have the clowns. That's the one with Jack Nicholson in the hotel.
Yeah, no, I know. I was saying that I tried reading it, but
the actual book It.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
like
okay.
IT.
I thought you were
It.
Shining. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But I couldn't read it before, and now that there actually are clowns running around out there, I'm definitely not going to be reading it. But The Shining, that's one book that is creepier than the movie.
Really?
Only because it's your imagination. It's in your head, and you picture everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found Horns to be a creepier book than it was a movie.
Really?
I mean, they're both quite creepy, but yeah, it's the same thing where his son is just as bad, just as creepy.
That's interesting. I wonder if Horns is still on Netflix. I'll have to check.
Yes.
And I think it's the last one. Let me check my list. Shining. Okay, I have two other ones. The first one is just as much as I hate ghosts, zombies scare the crap out of me too.
I love zombies.
Not so much like zombies themselves, but I try to figure out how I would get away And I wouldn't last very long, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't last very long either. I'd have to off myself before I get eaten by a zombie. Conclusion.
Like, there was, I don't know why, and I
watch
don't
a lot
watch
of
The
Walking
Walking Dead. I don't watch The Walking Dead. I mean, I have, but I'm way behind on it. I don't watch zombie movies because they make me uncomfortable.
I love
And
zombie movies.
there was like a week, almost a week straight, that I would lay in bed. You know, we'd go to bed, and Rich would be unconscious like 30 seconds after we turned off the light. And I would honestly sit here or lay in bed and try to figure out if zombies attacked and Rich got hurt, or you know, he died, or I had to kill him because he was a zombie, how I would get my kids out of this house.
Rich better not get bitten by a zombie. Let's just say that.
Now, he needs to keep his act together because I'm like, well, they're not very smart, so maybe I could just shut the kid gate downstairs and buy us some time, and then I'll shut the kid gate at the top of the stairs, so if they get past that one, then they can't get over. And then I can tie all the sheets together and make a rope and climb out the window. Like, no.
I'm a zombie movie connoisseur. So my plan is basically just to get a really great baseball bat and then go to the Winchester. I love Shaun of the Dead. My really bad take on that.
But anyway, my book that creeped me out was World War Z. Nothing like the movie. If you've seen the movie, they take bits and pieces of the book. So basically, the book, it's not, it's like a series of short stories, basically. They, there's a journalist who's trying to like chronicle what happened. So it's kind of like going back. So it's after the end when they figure out how to defeat the zombies and they can try to start fighting back. So a reporter at that point is finding people who lived through it and trying to piece together exactly what happens. So it's all interviews. Like there's at the very beginning, it's a short story about a doctor who examined someone who was infected, like out in like the rice paddies of Vietnam or something. And then there's another story about, and if you saw the movie, I think that this short story is about the soldiers that they go to when they're flying to, not Jerusalem, the first place that they're going to.
I can't remember where. I think it was Korea.
I think so. So, yeah. And it's those soldiers that are stranded there on the Air Force base. It's about them. So the book is all short stories and all interviews, but it's just creepy. Like zombies. You know, everyone is all excited for the zombie apocalypse and how awesome it'll be. I don't understand why these people think it's going to be so awesome.
As far as I'm concerned, if you are prepared for the zombie apocalypse, you are prepared for anything.
Well, almost anything. I could go political, but I won't. But I think the zombie apocalypse.
Well, that's according to the CDC. The CDC has a whole page on the zombie apocalypse because they're.
Is it really?
They do. Because their philosophy is, okay, if you can be prepared for the zombie apocalypse, you can be prepared for everything. And they tell you how to prepare for the zombie apocalypse, feeding off of the zombie trend so that they could get people to prepare for actual emergencies.
Oh my God. That's kind of brilliant. But I want to go to the CDC website now and look at that.
I'll post it to our Facebook page so that everybody can see.
That's awesome.
So I have 2 other books on my list.
Okay.
The first one is the 13th Tale, or 13th Tale. The story. It's a book for book lovers. There's just some books that are written just for people who love books, and this is one of them. And a topic for us to have in the future. What books for book lovers? In this story, you have this author, this very well-known author, who has lived this mysterious, sheltered life, solitary life, finally come out and tell her story. And she tells it to a girl who works in a bookshop, who comes to her house, and they talk about what happened. And her story is creepy. I can't talk too much about it, but it's creepy and it's messed up. And the twist at the end, it made the whole ride worth it. So that one kept me in suspense for quite a while. I did not sleep while reading that book. And then it was one of those books that just stays with you for days after you read it. It's that creepy. And then
I started reading that. I don't know what happened.
I don't know, but that's a good one.
Did I check it out? No, because you're telling me, as you're talking about what it's about. I'm like, that sounds like a book that I was reading, and she runs the bookshop with her dad, and the mysterious letter showed up on her doorstep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I totally started reading that. I don't know what happened to it.
Okay, well, maybe we'll pick it up again for next year's books, because since we have already planned out for December, we should look at January, February, and March. Perhaps 1 month we should have that book and then do a topic of books for book lovers.
Yeah, we might have to do that.
We might. Yeah, because this is such a great story and so creepy. I loved it. And then my last one is the Book of Lost Things.
Also sounds familiar.
I don't know if I talked about it, but I don't know if I don't know if I actually reviewed it or not. I remember but I read it and I loved it, and it's this story about this boy set in World War II era, and he gets transported into this whole other world, and it's kind of Alice in Wonderland-esque, but it's creepy, and it's kind of sad, but it's a good book, but it was creepy. It kept me up quite a bit.
Well, I have one more. This is more kind of, again, going on the zombie apocalypse, but not really. It's The Road by Cormac McCarthy.
I heard a lot about that one.
It just I don't like bad things, guys. I just don't. I don't like zombies. I don't like ghosts. I don't like end of the world scenarios. Basically because I have 2 kids, and that means that I need to stay alive. I will not stay alive in these situations. I mean, maybe I will. Who knows? But it's just very creepy and very sad that it's just this dad and his son, and they're just walking and trying to survive after the world ended. And there's one scene where they come across a house, and they think that this family is going to help them, and they're, super nice and super friendly. It's like an old husband and wife, and they discover that they're actually cannibals, and they have people trapped in their basement that they're keeping alive just to eat them.
Wasn't you making a movie of this?
They did make a movie.
The movie. They did?
Yeah. But the book is.
I thought it was gonna. Yeah, that scares me right there. And they're cannibals. I'm just like, when I went to Fiji, I discovered that there had cannibalism in their history, and I was like, whoa. And they were actually selling wooden cannibal forks. I was like, yeah, no, we're not bringing that home. Back trinkets that we're bringing home. No.
No, you don't need that kind of juju. No.
No. as it is at Brown Book Club, that you can use to beat people. But that looks pretty and kind of like a hockey stick, so that's up on the wall.
So that's okay.
Yeah, that
no
works.
human flesh was consumed.
No.
But that was the last book on my list. I'm right now. This book is kind of creepy. It's more like uncomfortable. I'm reading this book called Trust No One, and I forget who the author is. I'll look at it when I go downstairs. But it's about this author who he finds out that he has Alzheimer's. So the book flips from 3 different timelines. It's present day, like he has Alzheimer's. He lives in a home that can help him. And it's from that point forward. Then it flashes back to a journal that he writes, that he started writing himself after he got diagnosed, to kind of like help remind him like what his life was and everything in it. And then there are entries from his pen name, because he writes crime novels, and his pen name is Henry Cutter. And this whole thing is, he remembers that he killed people. He has these memories, he can't shake it, but he's convinced that he killed people. So he's always confessing to the police and to the nurses in his home that he killed someone. But they keep telling him, you didn't kill anyone. It's just you write crime novels. That's what you do. So you're getting your stories mixed up with real life. And it's just like, can you imagine, like, getting away with it all these years, and then all of a sudden you get Alzheimer's and no one believes you that you're a murderer?
Yeah, that's so weird and so creepy. And then I feel like he actually does have Alzheimer's, and what if he really didn't do it, but he thinks he did? So that's a whole nother caboose. Because once you have Alzheimer's or dementia, you just don't know what's going on. I mean, my step-grandmother had dementia, and the poor woman thought it was still World War II. And she thought that we were living in the Great Depression. And my stepmom, I'll never forget, my stepmom talked about how she went there for the weekend when things started getting bad, and stayed there for the weekend because things were going, it was rough on my step-grandfather because he was taking care of her. And in the middle of the night, she would come out and she'd be like, "You hear the explosion? Did you hear the bombs going off? There were bombs going off." And my stepmom was like, "No wonder why my dad can't get any sleep, because she's constantly up and she's constantly wandering around the house." And we see that with our clients too, and it's awful. It was quite bad.
That's so scary.
So yeah, you never know.
Well, I haven't gotten very far in the book yet, but it's good. It's really good. But I think that's our lists for this evening, huh?
It is, yeah, and that is this episode.
And next week, we haven't quite determined what next week will be as far as our list theme, but we'll keep reading Woman in Cabin 10. I promise, now that she's on the ship, it starts picking up.
Better.
And it feels very, I can't remember with Lily here, I was very distracted. I can't remember if I said this out loud, but it's very Alfred Hitchcock-ish.
Okay.
I
used to love reading Alfred Hitchcock books when I was in school. I remember going in, I discovered him, I think I was actually in elementary school when I discovered Alfred Hitchcock, and they had a book of his short stories. And I actually sat down and I read the short stories. And I remember one that actually stuck with me and I loved it. It's a ghost one, so you'll love it, Michelle. Stopped along the side of the road, and when he did, a ghost got in the car, and then the ghost couldn't leave the car. The ghost ended up having to haunt the car. And the two guys were talking, and it was just this whole funny interaction between the two, because the human guy's like, "Well, just get out of my car." And the ghost is like, "I can't, I'm haunting your car. I am stuck with your car." And they were annoying. They annoyed the hell out of each other. It was like the Odd Couple meets Casper.
That's pretty awesome, though. That sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
But we'll be posting about what next week's episode will be, and we'll post our titles from tonight if you feel like picking up a good creepy book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really upset that there are no lights on in the hallway, that I have to walk downstairs in the dark right now.
I forgot I was going to share something to Facebook, and I forgot what it was.
The CDC page.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes, I'll be posting that to our page.
To prepare for the zombie apocalypse. And if, anyone wants to let me join their clan, if I get separated from my husband, then, you just let me know, because...
Be caretaker for all the kids back in the compound.
I mean, I figure you're going to need a historian, you're going to need a writer to chronicle what happens, so when, I will do that.
This is why I have learned gardening and knitting, so I could be of some use during the zombie apocalypse. I can make clothes and I can grow food. I'll be the best food, but I can still grow it.
I can be the person that you need to outrun. So there's that.
You can be the zombie bait.
That's terrible. But I hope everyone has a lovely evening, and thank you for carrying the team wine-wise, Diana. I really wish I had some tonight because it's been a long day. But
that's the wonderful thing about this cup, Anarchy Wood. Again, this wonderfully tall cup is that it holds a lot of wine, and I'm still learning the proper amount of wine to put in it, because when I think I have enough, it's not quite enough, and I end up pouring more. So, yeah, you kept hearing me probably pour more and more wine during this segment. And
this is a judgment-free circle. We do not judge.
Yes, I appreciate that. We do not judge here.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us, and stay tuned for next week.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.